Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome back to Sunday Driving and our playthrough of OutRun 2006 Coast to Coast. Last time we had a couple of good races in Flagman's intermediate category. So we're going to continue with that today and see if we can have similar success or if it's all going to go to pot. So our next challenge is to race the rivals across 2 rounds. Let's see how we get on. We'll take the F50 again because that served us quite well last time. And I also feel that's sort of what you're intended to use for this level of competition as well. I wish there was an easy way to choose the ones you'd unlocked. Alright, we got that one definitely. Let's have this one for a change. I guess I'll just have to buy the rest of the music. Then it won't be an issue.
Get ready. Race for the top position.
Alright, so 3 stages this time. This is one of those games that makes really good use of a relatively limited amount of actual content in terms of tracks. Because it's sort of mixing them up in different orders and sending you down different routes and so making you do things on them in different contexts. This keeps things really interesting. That's one thing that Sega's always been really good at, with different types of game too. It's like, if you think of something like Shenmue, that's obviously a completely different type of game to this, but that too makes massively effective use of a limited geographical area in that case. So it has a lengthy story unfold across relatively few physical locations. And I guess the same could be said of the Yakuza series as well, which a lot of people see as a sort of spiritual successor to Shenmue. I know some people get a bit snippy about that descriptor, but I think it's true. I mean, it's not exactly the same, obviously, but it's got a lot of elements in common. Particularly in terms of the whole sort of life in Japan simulator that it offers, which is one of its most appealing aspects for many people. Even aside from the interesting story. It's just the opportunity to spend some time in a completely different culture. I'm really going to have to figure out a way of tackling the Yakuza series on Moe Gamer at some point, because I've played the first 3 games and absolutely loved them. So I'm very keen to play 0 and the 2 Kiwami games, and also to catch up on the rest of the series. But for Yakuza 4 and... do I mean Yakuza 4? No, I mean Yakuza 5, which only got a digital release. I'm kind of holding out for the PlayStation remaster of that, the PlayStation 4 version, just so I can have an actual disc copy of it. As that way I will have the entire Yakuza series on my shelf. 2nd place, AA rank. Not bad. Not bad. Could be better. Not bad. Alright, another 3-stage race.
Race for the top position.
It's my favourite waterfall course. Look at that, it's beautiful. I think that's one of the things the OutRun series is always nailed. Even in its early superscalar incarnations. It's absolutely nailed that feeling of going on a scenic drive. Which, growing up, is actually what I wanted from my driving games more than the ability to race sports cars. That was mostly because I couldn't drive and was sort of fascinated by the idea of driving and wondering what it would be like. Obviously now I can drive for real. You know, okay, the idea of sort of commute simulator does still appeal to me somewhat. So I've played a bit of Euro Truck Simulator, for example, and that I really enjoyed my time with that. It's a game I should probably make some more time for at some point, but it's just hard to squeeze in with everything else because it's actually a surprisingly involved game with the whole management of your fleet and that kind of thing. It's actually got a lot of sort of elite DNA in it. And as a child, I was kind of fascinated by the concept of Test Drive 3 by Accolade. I mean, I know now that isn't a terribly good game. But the possibilities it offered at the time it was released were fascinating. So it was sort of a 3D polygonal world that you could pretty freely explore in your car. A car with terrible controls, admittedly, but nonetheless. The Test Drive series did actually later go back and revisit that concept with Test Drive Unlimited, which was a game that got fairly tepid reviews, but I really enjoyed. Because it seemed like the realization of that formula. And that was doing some really clever things with sort of quasi-MMO features as well. That made it a lot of fun. So, I mean, I doubt there's anyone playing it today, so it probably wouldn't be quite the same now. But the sort of core gameplay of driving around in the open world is still surely pretty solid. It's a game I need to re-add to my collection at some point, clearly. Okay, choice of two different things. So, we have a test your slipstream or race the rivals. Let's do test your slipstream. Is that something new that I'm probably going to fuck up? Oh, let's go and buy some music. Alright, got that one. Yeah, why not? Let's get some of the remixes because they're cool. Yep, I'll have that one. And that one. Oh, that's a nice remix of that. Yeah, we'll play with that one this time. Okay. Coast to coast, Flagman, test your slipstream. F50, automatic. Remixes, if you please. Yes. Bit of smooth jazz. Nice. Okay. Oh, so it's another one we have to keep ahead of the rivals. Good training, this one. So this is what games should do instead of tutorials, is they should provide you with some challenges that sort of put the various skills that you need to use in context. And just to talk about a contemporary game that I think does that quite well is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because the whole thing behind the Spirits mode in that, whether it's the adventure mode in World of Light or the Spirit board, is the whole thing with each spirit having unique behaviour trains you to react to various different situations that you might come across when fighting in more conventional matches. So you might come across a spirit who tends to spam a particular special attack, and surely when you're fighting either online or in person with people, we've all got the friend who likes to spam a particular attack. And so it's worth knowing exactly how to deal with that. And that's kind of what this mode is doing in a lot of ways. It's giving you these challenges that will test the various skills, the various techniques that you can make use of in the game, and challenging you to make good use of them in context. Alright, well that was easy enough. Let's take this one as well, just so we unlock both routes. Another Race the Rivals, 2 rounds. So a bit of Magical Sound Shower remix.
Get ready. Race for the top position.
Oh, this is a nice remix. Such an iconic piece of music. It's kind of amazing when you think about it, really, that a lot of the most iconic pieces of music that we have in gaming today are from some of the oldest games. I mean, there's a few exceptions to that rule, like Jeremy Soule's theme for The Elder Scrolls is pretty well known, although he's used it for several games at this point. And the rest of the music in the Elder Scrolls games is eminently forgettable. But yeah, you think of stuff like Magical Sound Shower here, this is late 80s. Super Mario Brothers from sort of early to mid 80s. Final Fantasy from the NES era with its victory fanfare. Most of the classics were written in an era when the technology was relatively limited, so rather than having impressive arrangements, you had to have your piece of music had to stand by itself as something catchy and interesting to listen to. You couldn't just rely on having the impressive sound of an orchestra or a full chorus or something. And that's why a lot of early game music in particular was composed with the same techniques used in a lot of popular music. So the use of rhythmic and melodic hooks and that sort of thing. There's loads of things you can do with limited technology. And then the nice thing about them is, as you can hear here, even if the original arrangement was simple, if it's got like a strong melodic and rhythmic element, you can then expand on that in the future with additional instrumentation, a thicker arrangement, real instruments, all sorts of things. And the piece still keeps its original character while sounding much more modern. Oh, I don't like this one. Looks nice, but it's a bit of a pain to drive around, as I recall. Not too bad, actually. I think I might be thinking of when you encounter it in heart attack mode, so there's some quite difficult objectives in among all this stuff. So the actual course itself isn't horrendously difficult. It's just as long as you remember to drift around the corners correctly. Legend. That's how you want to finish a race, isn't it?
Checkpoint.
Uh-oh. That was a nice drift. Oh, I love the scenery in this game so much. Just look at it. Beautiful. And this running on a PlayStation 2, it's just testament to what a difference good art design makes to something. Alright, nicely done. Next round, please. And we will call it a day after this race, because these ones are quite long.
Race for the top position.
Just wondering which route it's going to take us this time. We've got another full course from the look of things. Nice. Not seen Hang Glider Man before. This is nice. I can feel myself sort of slipping into the zone. That's what I get with a good arcade game, is after a while you're just sort of so immersed in what you're doing that your attention is constantly on the screen. You're there staring, faintly slack-jawed, probably dribbling slightly. No, none of those things. You know what I mean, though. When you get really involved in a good game, that's the feeling this game really inspires after a little while. Once you get a feel for its handling. Because its sort of basic handling is a lot twitchier than a lot of driving games that people today might be used to. And obviously the drift mechanics need a bit of practice as well. But once you got a feel for them, oh, the fluidity, just the feel of this game, combined with the gorgeous journey you get to take through all this different scenery. So it's just a real shame that there's no current means of playing this game aside from tracking down a PC version and making sure it works on modern hardware and operating systems, which can be a bit of a crapshoot, as I'm sure a lot of you know. But the console and PSP versions all still exist, and they're all still very good, so if you have access to some retro hardware or even emulation, I don't know what state PS2 emulation's in right now, but if you have some means of playing this, I do highly recommend it. Metropolis. I think I've seen this one. Oh, hello, Paris. This is what I said a few episodes ago about this game not really confining itself to America, despite it having a very American sort of aesthetic about it. Uh-oh. Let's not have this problem again. Oh, that's a nice way to finish the race. Oh, that's an even nicer way to finish the race. Oh, I still got third. Bugger. Or did I? I think I got second, but I still appeared in third on the ranking for some reason. Oh well. Never mind. That's a nice way to finish today's episode then. So, once again, I will say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. Be sure to check out moegamer.net for new articles on Japanese and Japanese-inspired video games, new and old, every weekday. Every month, Moegamer features an in-depth exploration of an individual game or series as its cover game, so be sure to check the archives to see if your favourite has had a deep dive yet. If you'd like to support the site directly, please consider becoming a patron or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.